Here's the thing about update culture. It sounds great on the surface, but it's not serving anyone. It usually starts out for a really good business reason. You added a weekly sync because alignment's off. That sync then, of course, needed a deck. And then the prep for that meeting needed a call to prepare for that meeting. So the meeting for the meeting. Then someone built a template so the decks would be consistent. Now, filling up the template is someone's actual job. A capable leader would look at all that and might even think that it's rigor. It looks a lot like discipline and it feels like you're on top of things. But watch what it actually rewards. It starts rewarding the best update, the cleanest slide, and the most confident delivery, and the narrative that makes a flat month sound like momentum. The skill we're paying for stops being moving the business forward and starts being how we present the business. And those two skills are not the same thing. And when you reward the second one, you get more of the second one. So the move here isn't have fewer meetings and, cross your fingers and hope for the best. It's to redesign what the meeting is actually for. We think a working meeting only needs to do three really important things. Hi, I'm Sarah Wilson. I'm a fractional COO and operational turnaround partner for founder-led SMB. I help businesses struggling with complexity and challenges within their operational core. I work with founders to install scalable, repeatable processes and unlock the ability to grow with the tools and teams they already have.
And hi, I'm Penny Cook. I'm also a fractional COO and a strategic operations consultant helping product and consumer brands install, upgrade, and run scalable operations and operational systems that reflect the founder's unique vision and ambition. So this is a great topic, Sarah. Let's get into it. So many teams fall into this trap of meetings to get ready for meetings to get ready for meetings, and now we have more templates and people's time is occupied by presenting information rather than by actually managing information.
Yes.
And the first thing that we want to address here is when the number is green, reflect and celebrate.
Yes.
It's the one that people will skip over the most in meetings. Look at all these green numbers. We're not going to address them. It's not a cue to move on. Green is information and it's important. Something you did worked. And if you don't pause enough to look at what worked, you can't repeat it. Or it's not, the repetition of that isn't reinforced. So celebrate, absolutely. People need to be recognized for good work because when we're instilling cultures that recognize the behaviors that we want to see, we do want to celebrate and we want people to feel rewarded for the hard work and the results they've gotten. But behind it, there is an evaluation of what we did. Did we do it on purpose? Can we do it again on purpose? There's real intel in acknowledging what's going well and making sure those successes are going to be repeated and they're going to show up in subsequent reports. There's a 30-second conversation that most teams never have because they're already 3 slides ahead in the presentation, anxious about the red things.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a really important one. It's going to be very impactful, and I've seen it skipped a lot.
I've seen it skip too, Penny, and you're so right about that culture piece. We want to be an organization updates on the green, celebrates the green, so that we don't start feeling like the meetings we do have are filled with stress and finger pointing. We want to build a culture that truly celebrates the great work that we do.
Exactly. Train them to recognize the good things and celebrate the good things, because when we over focus on the bad things, those are the things that will stay in everyone's mind.
Exactly.
One red metric can reset everyone's feeling about their entire performance for the month when that may not have been the overall theme of how things went, but just a cue for the team.
Exactly. And that brings us nicely to the second thing that we really want to focus on. And let's be straight here. Red numbers do happen. But it's important that we do the right things when we come across those red pieces. So when the number isn't what it needs to be, when we see that red, what are we doing to move the business forward? So it's very important to make this meeting be about what we are doing to change the current state and not so much as to why. And I think Every leader has gotten caught in this trap, and so many businesses get caught in the storytelling trap of we have to explain well and justify and spend a lot of time on the narrative around why the number's red. And here we emphasize that it's really about focusing the teams on what is going to move the business forward.
Yeah, Sarah, I think that you and I would both like to take permanent markers and scrawl this across every
Excellent.
conference room, right? Is
Yes.
that you want your team to leave that room knowing what they're doing about the challenges that your team has. If you spend all of your time finger pointing, blaming, trying to dissect what may have happened or why there's a red, does your team have a blueprint for success walking out that door? Are they going to do something that's going to cause that metric to improve next time? And as a leader, that's a real question that you need to ask yourself.
You're so right, Penny. And by focusing on the moves forward and the actions that are going to be taken, it not only educates everybody that they all understand what's coming next, right? That there's a bit of an alignment piece there, is by focusing on the actions that are going to come in the future and have that forward-looking view. We also don't get caught in what I like to call the windshield rear view mirror trap. I have sat in so many meetings, Penny, where people talk about and pick apart why the number was 96.3 and not 97.4 like we expected, and is the number right, and
Yeah.
should we be care about the number, and here's why the number isn't always accurate. And I feel like spent a career talking about how numbers give us directional information and that it really is always about the action we're going to take.
Yeah, that's such a perfect metaphor, Sarah, because you can't drive down the road safely just staring in that rearview mirror. That's not going to help you navigate what lies ahead of you. You're looking out your windshield and you're going forward, but you're glancing in that rearview mirror to inform how it is that you're moving forward. Run your meetings the same way. Take glances, make sure you understand where you are, but the majority of your focus is on moving that thing forward. And you need to leave those conference rooms knowing that your teams know what to do, what behaviors to continue, what we're going to do about things that we need to fix. And
Exactly.
then that brings us to the third key we want to talk about, which is where do you need help from other functions?
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
think about it. If the meeting is just every person in the room reading off their own status, that can be an email. There's no value to that, but there are real team efforts that need to be coordinated and discussions that need to be had. The big reason to assemble is the stuff that crosses lines, the
Yes.
thing marketing needs from product, the things that ops needs from finance, the blocker that one person or potentially one team can't clear on their own. This is the discussion that we want to have when we're sitting together rather than rehashing metrics. What is it that we need from other teams, from the people around us, in order to keep looking through that windshield and moving forward?
Yes, and this piece, Penny, is so important too, because we always within our organizations want our functions to work well together, and that is always part of the goal. What can happen is that space in between the functions can be quite nuanced. So that may be to your example, between operations and finance, there might be something that lives in between, but sales might have a bit of stake in whatever that is, and it's not totally clear. Or it might have, affect marketing in a way we didn't realize. So those meetings, having all those functions represented and focusing part of that meeting on what do you need from each other, helps everybody align to be on the same page and learn important things about each other's departments and functions that help us run even better.
So, Sarah, you're so right about that. The organization is a machine with gears that interlock with each other. It's not that the team that you're meeting with is a standalone success factory. You need to be connected to other teams, and there are going to be problems that are outsized from the team that you're on, and that is the nature of the business. And you actually want that. You want that coordination. So it's the most honest part of the whole meeting where we talk about where we really stand, what we need to do, and then how we're going to coordinate with this team and the teams outside of this room to get that done.
So look at what we've actually done here is we took a meeting that had super polished updates. We've met lots to meet more, if you will, and replaced it with three important questions. Are we green? And let's not only celebrate it, but learn from it. Are we off? Where's the business off? And what are we doing to move the business forward? Not why did it turn red, but where are we taking it from here? And then finally, are you stuck? Who can help and how? And that cross-functional piece is so important. So that's it. We're transforming our meetings from updates and, let's be frank, wasting everybody's time, to collapsing all of that pre-work and that rehearsal and that polish that really wasn't serving our business, and moving into actually managing our business, not narrating it.
Hear, hear.
And the meeting stops being the work, which is, I think, a welcome addition to anyone's business. If this gave you a useful way to look at your own structure, this is the show to follow. This is the kind of stuff that Penny and I love to work on. So if you need help, Penny and I love to talk to operators about this very thing. This is exactly the kind of thing that we do with our own clients. Reach out, find us on LinkedIn, or visit us at our website, operating-on-purpose.com. And if you're not subscribed yet, please do. It helps us more than you know, and make sure that you never miss an episode.
Because great businesses don't just happen, they operate on purpose. Thanks for joining us today, Sarah. That was fun.
That was
Thanks
fun.
to everyone for listening in.
See you next time.
See you next time.